I got something for you. Here. It's a little faded, but it still looks pretty good.
I'm good.
You sure?
I've said I'm good.
When you have dealt with such a strong loss, often those mementos, those memories, for some people, they bring them solace and make people feel better. But everyone mourns completely differently. And for Joel, that reminder of Sarah is so painful that he doesn't want to be able to see it because it doesn't give him solace. It just reminds him of what he used to have that he no longer has. And that's why a lot of people deal with things really differently. Some people may want to keep a lot of mementos and keep a room exactly the same, whereas other people might go through a complete decluttering and wanting to get rid of things. Though I would state that if you're going through something, a loss, I would wait. Because sometimes you may do something and you might feel bad about it later. So a lot of people want to get rid of things right away, and if you do, that's completely fine, but you may want to wait until those emotions are a little bit less strong, because sometimes when we're so flooded, we may make a decision that we may regret. And if you get rid of everything, you may have wished to keep some mementos for later. So maybe put into a box some of the things that may be more heartfelt, and then think about what to do with them later.
So why'd you leave Boston?
I've been on quite the adventure, little brother.
I reckon it's got something to do with that girl.
It's got everything to do with that little girl.
It's a little moment, but when Joel calls her a little girl, it's much more humanizing than just that girl. You can tell that he has some emotions. She's young, she needs protecting. So it already shows that though he has this rough outer coating, that she's starting to seep in. He's starting to care about her, even though that's the last thing that he wants to do. When we talk about that aversion, that loss aversion, when we've gone through something so heartbreaking, some people become very attached and want to form other bonds to be able to feel that feeling again. But for others, they now want to keep people away because they don't want to feel for someone because they could go through that painful loss again.
Why bring her here?
I was supposed to deliver to the Fireflies. You finish the job, you collect the whole damn payment.
What makes you think I'd do this for you?
This isn't for me, Tommy. This is for your damn cause.
And so you might be wondering, why would Joel do this? Why would he want his brother to complete the job? Because he knows he's getting attached to her. And the risk of losing someone else, the risk of caring about someone else and maybe losing them, that loss aversion is so strong. If you gain $10 but lose 10 of your own dollars, we see that loss as greater. We see a loss as a greater pain than we do as the same amount of a gaining of that. And so him becoming attached to Ellie and the risk of being able to lose someone else, and that's why that scene right before it of him looking at Sarah is so poignant. We're being reminded of what he has lost and that he can't go through it again. And this is a world where he can't control things. He did everything in his power to try to save Sarah, and he couldn't. And so that emotion is so great for him that he needs to push her away because he can tell that no matter what he's doing, he's becoming attached to her.
You ain't talking about some walk in the park here.
Jesus, boy. Have Maria get some of your born-again friends to do it.
They got families too.
Tommy, I need this.
And it makes him seem like if you look at it just on the surface, it seems cold and that he's just abandoning her. Damn me. But it's the opposite. It's because when you start to feel something, it's so painful to have to go through it again that we don't want to feel something because then it opens up that floodgate of caring for someone more than you care about yourself. I didn't cry when I watched this, when I played through this, actually.
You want some gear? Sure. But I ain't taking that girl off your hands.
This is how you gonna repay me, huh? You survived because of me! Bring you the cure from mankind, and you wanna play the pissy little brother.
And if he was being really honest, he would say, I can't emotionally do this again. I've already lost someone that I cared about. Please take care of her because I can't go through that. I think that a lot of people that have lost things that they care about feel that way, that they can't love another pet because they could have to put another pet down again. And it's just such a heartbreak to have to love something and lose it, to care. There's a beauty and a horror in loving something so much that its loss would be so great to us. When you love something so much that losing it would be so heartbreaking for you. And in this world where it could be a horrific loss, that something horrible, worse than death, could happen to the thing that you care about, that he can't deal with that. He doesn't have the skills to be able to emotionally go through that. I'm just gonna cry this entire thing.
You okay?
Joel! Oh man, they were coming in from every direction, then Maria was like, we gotta run!
Listen,
And then-
hey, are you hurt?
No!
God damn it.
And it's so beautiful because his brother gets it in that moment. When he sees the worry on his brother's face, he knows that the reason that he's asking for her, I need tissue. He says, God damn it, because he sees, oh my God, it isn't because he's being heartless or wants to give it up. He sees that love that his brother showed to Sarah that he's showing to Ellie. And that's when his brother gets it, why he can't do this.
I need to talk to you.
Absolutely not. You tell him to go find somebody else.
I have to do this. I don't know what else to say.
He knows that his brother can't handle losing someone else, and so he doesn't have the same attachment, so he's going to do this for him. It's just such a beautiful moment because you get where it's the change. They're so angry at each other, but he sees beyond it. He can see what Joel couldn't tell him, those words of, I can't lose someone else.
Maria.
Here we go.
You. If anything at all happens to him, it's on you.
Joel knows that he's going to get it from her because he is also risking his brother's life, but this goes beyond that.
I'll take that girl of yours to the Fireflies. You don't have to worry about it.
It's best this way.
Maybe some real good will come of this.
I need to talk to Ellie.
Even if she doesn't get eaten or killed by a zombie, he's still letting her go to be experimented on by the Fireflies. The more he gets attached, how hard that's going to be to have to give her over to be tested upon by the Fireflies.
Do you have any idea how many men we lost here today?
Hey, what's that all about? Does that have anything to do with me?
Talk about it later.
Later, right?
For Ellie, she knew it. She knew that once again, she's gonna be left alone and abandoned. And she's more avoidant in her personality type. And so because of that, she's like, you know what? If you're gonna abandon me, I'm gonna leave anyways. I don't need to go through someone else that's just gonna discard me when times are tough. She doesn't get that the reason that he's doing this is because he cares and doesn't want to lose her. She just sees this part through her wound. We see the world through the facets of what hurts us. And so she's like, you know what? I don't need this, because she's also getting attached to Joel. And so sometimes what we do, our reactions are because of love, and people see it as it's because we don't care, but it's the opposite. It's because we care and care too much. And so if you understand people's attachment types, we can understand a little bit more of why we do these actions that seem just harsh and hurtful from the opposite end, because we don't see the world through their eyes. We don't play by the same amount of rules. And our personality type and our attachment types and our wounds and our hurts are often the reason why we do these things that from other people might just seem stupid and brash and hurtful.
Do you even realize what your life means? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk? It's pretty goddamn stupid.
Well, I guess we're both disappointed with each other then.
What do you want from me?
Admit that you wanted to get rid of me the whole time.
So you see, she just sees that as you didn't want me, and that's her wound. And she's saying, you know what, like, if you don't want me, then I'm just gonna leave anyways. Who cares? Because if you don't care about me, then I don't want to have to be in this. I don't want to be discarded at your will.
What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam? I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had? Now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
She hits it directly on the nose.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
So she knows it. She knows that his fear is that he's not going to be enough to protect her because he wasn't enough to protect Sarah. In his eyes, they're starting to form this father-daughter relationship. But it's so painful because her even bringing it up reminds him of his greatest failure, his greatest regret, the thing that he never wants to have to relive, to think about again. When you deal with loss aversion, that fear of having to go through something again, sometimes you can end up so overprotective that you really just can't even do it, that you're constantly thinking about different scenarios. Your anxiety system is running on overdrive to try to do everything. But especially in this world that they're living in, there's never enough that you can think about. We try to control the uncontrollable, but it ends up controlling us. And that anxiety can become unbearable, so much so that you don't even want to have to deal with it. He's wanting to get rid of her so that he has some sort of control, so he doesn't have to go through that it's not going to be his failure that will lead to her demise.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel, but I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me.
Her issue with attachment and of being abandoned, and that's why she's that avoidant, where she's like, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna be tough and I don't need anyone. And Joel, the same thing. He acts all tough, like he doesn't need anyone. He's not gonna become attached, because when he does, that loss of losing people is so painful. And so they have some similar traits. They're both kind of more avoidant. They're both kind of pushing people away. And I think that that's one of the things that makes them also so close, because underneath all of that, they do understand each other.
Everyone except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
And that's so true, right? She has learned to trust him, someone that doesn't trust anyone. He was her trusted person, and he's wanting to get rid of her also. And that's so painful for Ellie. And you can see that moment, I hate that it's so emotional for me, but you can see that moment, Joel gets it. He gets, oh my God, her being abandoned by me is more painful than me not being able to protect her.
You're right. You're not my daughter, and I sure as hell ain't your dad. We are going our separate ways.
That's why he tries to push her away again, because he can see where this is leading up to, and that he's at risk of having to go through what he went through with Sarah all over again, because it is easier for him if she just hates him instead of loves him. And so that's why he's saying this horrible, horrible thing, because then he can cope with her just hating him, and that they don't have this emotional bond, because he can tell she loves him. That would be easier, and then he would have some control, and then she would leave and he wouldn't have to deal with this. And you see that one moment where he's looking at Ellie, and you can tell what he's thinking in that shake of like, no. You know that that's the moment where he's decided that he's not going to leave her.
Where is this lab of theirs?
It's all the way out, University of Eastern Colorado.
Ellie, get off your horse. Go on, don't make me repeat myself.
Come back to town, let's discuss it at least.
You know me, my mind's all made up.
In that moment, he realized that he couldn't hurt her by abandoning her, and that her pain of him abandoning her would be worse than if he had to deal with the pain of her dying, or that he couldn't deal with it, that he couldn't cope with hurting her so great that he would rather take the pain on for himself, which I think is just like that really beautiful dad thing, that he'd rather take the pain than have her go through that kind of pain. And he understood that her being abandoned by him would be worse. And I just think that that's probably one of the most beautiful moments for me in the game. Sorry. Really, I try not to do this. And if we go back to that moment where Ellie gets it, you can see that little look of like, oh my God, do you mean that you're keeping me? Like, it's just so beautiful. Zombies and survival games are fun games to play, but you also want to be prepared to survive in the real world, zombies or not. Watching my videos are a great way to get more familiar with the basics of psychology, but to learn more about science and technology, check out today's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant are the online interactive STEM learning platform with college-level courses on neural networks, computer science, math, physics, quantum mechanics, game theory, and a whole lot more. And it's taught in visual, hands-on ways. Right now, I am taking the course on geometry, but I've also done the courses on logic and algebra because if the zombie apocalypse is coming, knowledge is power. Yes, circles, triangles, squares, oh my! It's the math which deals with the space, distance, shape, size, proportion of all of these figures. And the interesting thing is you get to interact with these shapes in a hands-on way, so you actually get to see them, move them around, and you get to learn in little tiny increments. It also has lots of questions with little tiny animations that demonstrates how these principles are applied, which is really good for me because I am more of a visual hands-on learner. I really enjoy that Brilliant has these college level courses that are taught in ways that anyone can learn and you learn at your own pace. So I can stay at home and learn and become more adept at the skills that I want to evolve, and it doesn't break the budget. And Brilliant has thousands of lessons like these with new exclusive content being added every month, so you never really have to stop learning. All you have to do to get started for free is by visiting brilliant.org/Georgia Dow or click on the link in the description because the first 200 people will get 20% off of Brilliant's annual premium subscription. So just click on the button on the screen or head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow. Clicking on that button really does help out this channel, and so does clicking on the playlist above for more videos on psychology of your favorite shows. So please share, and I'll see you in the next video. These are some of my most heartfelt moments in The Last of Us. I think that that's what makes the game so wonderful, that it is this cinematic journey of emotions and feelings and dealing with loss. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.